page 148, 148 in your packet. There were there were two outstanding items from last time that we needed to revise before you approved this for this year. So on page 148 at the bottom, we changed the verbiage to fallen first responders can attend. Our employees can use city vehicles to attend funeral services for fallen first responders upon city administrator approval and will not be charged vacation time. Originally, it only had police. We changed that to first responders. And the other item deals with the education on page 163. And get to it. And essentially what this says is that if we pay for your one post-high school degree, that you agree to work for us 1 week for every month that you were in school. If you decide to not work for us prior to completing the course, then you will owe us a total refund. If you work for us a portion of that allotted time, that you owe us a prorated refund. And I believe the last sentence explains it pretty well. If it doesn't explain it very well, then Melissa wrote it. But if it does explain it well, I'll take credit.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I would like a motion to approve agenda item AIR 22-067 personnel policy updates with the changes noted in the policy.
I'll second. Ms. Hanson's made a motion to approve the personnel policy updates AIR 22-067. Councilor Scritchfield has seconded that motion. Is there any discussion over the personnel policy updates and the changes that were made that are noted in the policy guide? No discussion. All right. So hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. The personnel policy updates have been approved. The next item on our unfinished business agenda is the sidewalk project bid approval. And I think, Barnabas, you want to explain?
So this is for the additional items from Safe Walks to School, the area on 2nd Street next to the grade school, Citizens First, and Citizen State Bank and Security First. Once Mr. Hobbywox tells you the bid, you're going to see why I don't want to spend a whole lot of time describing it, because we're going to recommend that you decline the only bid that we got and we rebid this, but I'll let him talk about that. So I'll turn over to Mr. Hobbywox.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Before I get started, I wanted to just point out I have a couple of people accompanying me tonight from Carmichael. One is Isaac Wright, who's an engineering intern in our office, and just about 2 years from K-State. And then Morgan Traber is a summer engineering intern working the summer at K-State. Guest here as well, come to the council meeting. So we advertised this sidewalk improvement project for about a month, receiving bids up until today. Of course, we only received one bid. And the one bid was from a local contractor, DeBravo Woodworking. And I say unfortunately because I always like to see multiple bids and get competition. But talking with some other contractors, we're local, and we sent this out to contractors all over the area, South Central Kansas, and so forth. And the repeating theme we got a lot was we've got a lot of work on the plate. And we're pretty busy until the end of the summer, into fall. And so that's what I feel like is the number one reason why we only got one bid. It's just because there's so much work going for these contractors, they didn't feel like they could take this on. And I felt like we tried to give a pretty reasonable schedule. That the main priority was to construct the sidewalks there, South Elementary School, during the summer while school was out. And then the remainder of it could get done later in the summer or even early fall. But regardless, we got the one bid. And as you can see on the bid tab, it came in pretty significantly higher than our estimate. So our estimate, I'll say for the public here, engineer's estimate was $186,310. This is for all the segments combined. And the bid that was received was $338,885.
Substantially more.
So seriously more, and probably more than the city has available in their budget to take on. The parts of there's three different segments. One was more city related sidewalks, and then along the Citizen State Bank parking lot. The bank was going to pledge funds towards the project, but that segment was more than double than what we had estimated for the cost. And then along Security First Title, they were going to pledge money towards that part of the project as well, as it's really just a further building. And that segment also was more than double to what our estimate was. So I'm going to guess that would be a little surprising to them to see the numbers that are coming out there. So as Rusty alluded to, our recommendation is to decline the bid that was submitted, allow us to reach out to contractors, find out why they did not bid. Is it just all about schedule? Is there other factors involved? You come back to the council with a suggestion on, do we just bid it again a little bit later date? Do we need to, if this is conducive to the city, allow construction to start next spring in 2023? Is that when people are really going to be available? And so forth, and then come up with an alternative plan.
So, Mr. Mayor, we budgeted $60,000 for this project for our portion. And then citizens pledge money and Security First also pledge money. So we wouldn't get anywhere near, we don't have the funds budgeted anywhere close to being able to meet this particular match. I will tell you that we did talk to Kyler, and he is so far behind that he couldn't fit it in the schedule probably for this year. You think about the spot across from the car wash. I can't remember when Mr. Scritchfield mentioned it to me, but that just got done last week. And I want to say he mentioned that to me in probably September, and that's when it went on the list. So that kind of gives you an idea of where the local contractors are as far as their workload.
Then John, this was a transportation alternative.
Cost share. So there was a portion of the money that would be reimbursed from KDOT to the cost share program as well.
So how much time do we have before we have to get this done?
So the cost share program, by the agreement, requires the city to open bids within 6 months of the date that was submitted with the application, which I believe was March. So by that agreement, it would be around September, and they are pretty flexible about giving extensions on that as well. So we'll let them know that the city.
Yeah, with one bid, they can.
Yeah, and we'll let them know what's going on. If the city rejects the bid, we'll let them know and say we're gonna come up with plan B, and we'll probably go ahead and just ask for an extension now, just to make them aware of it, and you know, we can use that extension or not, at least it's already there in place.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion that we reject bid. Do we have to do anything or something?
Yeah, I would suggest you do take official action since it's a state contract.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reject the bids for the 2021 KDOT cost share sidewalk improvements project.
I'll second.
Councilor Scritchfield has made a motion to reject the sidewalk project bid approval, AAR 22-070. Councilor Hanson has seconded that motion. Any discussion? Need for clarification? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The sidewalk project bid approval has been rejected. For now. Next item on our agenda is the AMI.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, John has an update on the detention basin.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, John. Yeah, Rusty has to go ahead and include this topic in the part of the, not really tied up the discussion, but at the same time. So I sent to Rusty to share with you a proposal that we got from an outside consultant in relation to the South Detention Basin. And so everybody's aware, once the basin was excavated, it's had water in it on a constant basis, at least in parts of it. And we were looking at ways to de-water the basin. And for this particular situation, we felt like bringing in someone who works on this on a regular basis would be a wise idea to help us evaluate where the water is coming from, what's the quantity, where's the flow coming through. So we engaged a company called Water Resources Solutions. They're out of Prairie Village, Kansas, which is near Kansas City. And they specialize in subsurface drainage and stormwater issues. They put together this scope of services and cost to do a further study on the groundwater issue and help us come up with a resolution to get rid of it on a permanent basis. If you've been up there just prior to the recent rain, the basin had dried on the surface quite a substantial amount, especially at the south third going towards the outlet where everything's completely dried out. And this, I think, when we get into the summer months of July and August, when it's typically really hot and dry, we may see that thing dry out to a majority degree. But once it rains again, it's probably going to stand water again. So it may dry for a period of time where the contractor can finish it off and make it look better. But I don't know if that's going to fix the for the long term. So we're looking for a long-term solution, subsurface drainage that will get the water off when it does rain and snow in the future. So what they're looking at is, and we've already provided these people all the data they have so far. Basically an as-built surface model of the basin as it is now. KDOT geology section had done some boring, taken some borings out there just in a very small area where we encountered some rock and noted the water elevations in that area. They would recommend us to do some additional borings to other parts of the basin to search for what the elevation of the water is below ground. And then come up with a proposal for dewatering. And they would provide us a schematic drawing of where these, if it's piping or talked about French drains and made out of crushed rock, where they would be placed. And then we have like a cross section or typical section of what it would look like below ground. The last page of the 2-page document has the fees to complete the study. Turn over. And I apologize that it turned off so small. I didn't realize it was that small until I went to look at it. After I heard it off, I was looking on the screen before. But their price to do the engineering work for the study, they're proposing is $13,876. As a good neighbor, good partner with the city, Kirk Michael's offering to cover half that cost if the city is going to go forward with this proposal. And it doesn't have a signature line on here. If the city is interested going forward, I've asked him to be sent with a signature line on.
So John, real quick, this is still covered under the 80/20, correct?
I'm sorry, what was that reference?
This is still covered under the 80/20, correct?
This would not, because it's considered design services. Design was 100% on the city for this project.
Well, you guys messed it up, so why do we gotta pay half? I mean, you designed it wrong. Why, I don't think we should pay a dime. I think they should pay it all. And then you guys messed it up.
Well, I have a pretty strong argument that it's not 100% on.
Well, how's it on us?
I feel like the contractor had a significant contribution. We can.
Well, then have him pay the other half of that, 13 grand. He's guilty. Yeah, I would think they could try, right? I don't see why we gotta pay it. It wasn't right, it wasn't done right.
Is there money left in the project? Well, we can't use that.
We can't use it, we gotta pay it. Maybe we'll be paying for more stuff on this whole deal. Yeah, I don't think we should have to pay that. That's just my opinion, but why?
John, what's the likelihood of the contractor being amenable to that at all?
That was some jump for joy at it. It's not been very easy to deal with.
Right. Would he come in here if you asked him to come in?
Seriously doubt it, but he was asked. Had a hard time getting here to finish the project.
Right.
I need to be asked. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think without a doubt, this is, there are multiple factors here. You can't really say 100% here, 100% there. It's, one of those gray areas. So probably get him to come in here and, we've talked multiple times before, happy to meet him again.
Okay.
And, he believes in what he believes in and, it won't change, but, maybe by coming in here, in different environment, maybe that will change things. So as soon as you can make that happen, I'd be really appreciated.
Perfect. I will see if I can get him here for the next council meeting in June.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And John, on the WRS company,
Yes, sir.
how many, have you guys worked with this company previously on any projects?
We have not, I know. We have not worked with them before.
Would there, what you guys think, but would there be a way for us to talk with any other cities they worked with or?
I can ask him. Versus, yeah.
Yeah, references, sure, in DC, is there?
I don't know if he's worked with any in this area per se, but he's done a lot in Kansas City, not the metro area.
Right, I just think before we add any possible extra steps into this, I mean, what's the problem with taking an extra step and
Sure.
the better?
Sure, be happy to do so.
Would he be willing to come to the meeting also?
Maybe a virtual, he did come to the site and look at it.
Right.
He met Josh will have there one day.
Right. One possible solution, I think that would help everybody. Would be a sign out there at some point, once we get an idea of the absolute latest this thing will get done. I think just a simple sign saying project completion date. Because a lot of people don't watch the meetings and they're very confused and pretty cheap. They can drive by and look at it and go, oh, December will be done, and then just go on the merry way. So I think a simple sign, I'm happy to stand out there too, but you'd be surprised how many people still ask, hey, what's going on with drainage basin? And they're like, we met on it like 15 times, but they don't watch, so it might be helpful.
Take that under possible.
And I know we've kind of spoken a little bit about in the French drain aspect, but I mean, I assume that's gonna take equipment. It would, so is that like pretty much before we can even consider that, we have to get to this step? I'm just,
Well, what they're gonna do is provide us a recommendation on what to install. When I was out there just a week ago before the last rain, I could walk pretty much from one end to the other of that basin, north to south on solid ground, so. It's not gonna, it wouldn't have held up a giant dozer that our dirt contractor had up there, but if we're talking mini excavator type equipment. There was sufficient solid width to have that type of equipment out there to dig, whether it be an underground pipe or French drain would be you're dumping. Large gravel in there, so the water can leak its way through the gravel to the downstream end. But yeah, at that point in time, that was worth making it was dry enough to do that.
okay. Thank you.
Any questions for John? Okay, thank you, John. Really appreciate it. Now we're on to the AMI project update.
All right,
It's
so
agenda
Mr.
item.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Jackson is going to give you an update. The project hit some snags, nothing to do with the city, mainly supply chain, and then there were some hiccups on their side, which they've worked to rectify. And I will let him. We're still optimistic. I mean, everything is on target, and we're not going. It's no more expensive to the city, so just remember that when he starts talking.
They have no expense, so I think last time I was here, it said we wouldn't hit you with anything else, so. With everything, it's been going well, we got some of the MUs in, for the meters. But what we have realized is your meters are two different types, there's an encoder and then there's a pulse. The MTUs we got are for encoded meters. The pulse meters take a different MTU. we'll get those reordered and we'll absorb the cost on that, since, we kind of made some different changes, from when we first started, with the scope of work was originally the city was going to install everything. You guys would have realized that at this point also, that we didn't have the right MTUs for the types of meters that you have out there. One thing I talked to Rusty on was, I know you guys budget each year, for some meters. If you're going to do that again this year, this would be the ideal time to do it, because, later on down the road, you're gonna have to change that meter and MTU, to that encoder meter. So if you were gonna look at, changing meters, let us know. We can get you the meters at a discounted price, through your select vendor, whatever meter brand that you do want. Again, that's one of the benefits with the system that you guys have chosen is you can mix and match the meters. So if you guys want the certain type of meter, we can do that. If you want to try to get, the best dollar amount for your meters, we can do that also. One of the things too is as you go forward, just let us know when you're changing meters, and we'll get the proper encoders, or MTUs ordered for you. And that way we can place them currently under that warranty that you're having with your maintenance plan. So if you go buy it directly, you'll have, 1, maybe 2 years warranty on it. If you have it bought through us, we'll be able to get you that discounted price, and then we'll be able to provide that full warranty on it for as long as you're on that maintenance program. So I'm saying, any questions?
So Jim, let's explain to them, what was proposed was we take all 5 years worth of meter purchase and purchase them now. And then Veolia would allow us to finance at 0 interest and pay over 5 years. So we get all the meters now that we're going to need over the next 5 years. And that will negate us having to replace a relatively new MTU next year or the year after.
That's
that
correct.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The company they would do, like 2 years without any interest on that. Since it's what they call a negotiated sale, they wouldn't let them go to 5 with spread on that. So I mean, if you had budgeted, I don't remember the amounts, it's like 15,000 or 20,000. I think you have budgeted each year for meter change out. So I mean, if you decide that you do, we'll just say it's 30,000 or 15,000 that you have budgeted. If you do all 30,000 now, you wouldn't pay for that other 15,000 until next year. We'd be able to spread that cost for another year without any interest, but put the meters in now, and that would save you the cost of that MTU down the road. So there's roughly about 1,000 of the MTUs for the pulse meters in your system. One of the good things that we did notice was pretty much all your larger meters are already encoders. So it's not your most expensive meters that you're going to have to worry about on this. It's your residential meters. So
And I'm sorry.
How often do these products almost more or less go through an upgrade as far as like, so what are the odds of like 4 years from now you come back and you're like, well,
but what your maintenance plan is, any upgrades automatic. And it's included in your maintenance plan. So, if 4 years down the road, there's new software upgrade that needs to be done, it's just automatic. Does that kind of answer?
Yes.
Yeah. Your meter lifespan is about 20 years, 15 to 20 is on each unit is the lifespan of it. So. Currently got your maintenance program, so it's full 100% warranty. If anything goes wrong, any upgrades, it's just automatic.
thank you.
If not, I'll sit down. If there are no more questions.
Any more questions for Mr. Jackson?
So Jim, are you going to get me or Joe pricing on those meters?
I should have those for him tomorrow. What we were looking at is probably just the Badger meter. That is the ones that we could probably get you the most meters for your dollars. They had good contract with Badger that they're, should be able to get you at least a couple dozen extra, going that route, which would save you $300 later on down the road per meter.
Any other questions?
And the projected end date for the project now, because it's moved to the right.
It's about 12 to 16 week lead time, just the supply chain issue. Usually when we first started this project, it was about 4 weeks lead time. So, they're telling us 12 to 16 weeks now. We do have about 100 of them we can get in, but there's no way to get the others in to make sure everything's deployed at once. And they have worked the back office. I call it the back office, making sure that the building works correctly. I know with Angela, she seems to be happy with it. Okay, that's every time I've asked her, she says, "Yep, everything's fine." So I'm hoping it's fine after I leave too. So, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. No actions needed in that item, just an update, correct, Rusty?
Correct, Mr. Mayor.
New business, do we have a new business item tonight?
So I apologize. I didn't realize that Dr. Bowles was in the audience, or we would have taken care of her during petitions and delegations, but she would be the only new business.
All right, come on up.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bowles. I am the owner and chiropractor at Oak Creek Chiropractic, and I believe Mr. Mayor, you're the only one that I'm familiar with a little bit of here. But have come to ask the council's approval to be able to use the Prescott Park again for our Ninja Warrior event for kiddos ages 3 and 13. I brought a couple flyers here. I apologize for the cancel. I feel like I'm here usually a little earlier in the year, but I have, I don't know if you guys wish those or not. I think I only brought a couple of them. To bring more, sorry about that.
2 adult students too, it sounds like.
You sure can. You're not gonna get a medal, but you sure can. But yeah, so usually we start at the park, we start setting up about 5 a.m. And generally we're done around 4. We would ask that you keep the splash pad closed until about 3 p.m. that day, just because there's too many. What do I want to say? Too many things that kids can get into that we can't watch them. And parents don't always watch their kids either because they're watching their other kids. It's just kind of that. So if we can keep the splash pad closed until 3 p.m. that day, I think you guys have done that before. And it's been a big help for sure. We need caution tape off where we're going to be using the park. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but we use the west end of the park. So west of the little drop area.
Open area.
Yeah, where the stage and the bandstand and all that. We always had before a general release of liability, so I just printed up the one that Patrick Hoffman made last year and just signed it and put it in 2022. I don't know if that's sufficient or if we need to make up a new one or what.
I haven't seen it. It's probably okay.
Well, I didn't put in the dates because I wanted you guys to see it and said I didn't know if that was sufficient or not.
It's probably fine, I'm sure.
Well, if you need it, well, okay, just let me know. But so that's the flyer that we'll be sending out. We also have a release that all of the parents sign for their kids before they can ever do it. So that way the city's not liable, I'm not liable. You do have EMS on standby just in case, but nobody's really had much of an issue before.
What was the date of it again?
July 16th. I apologize, probably didn't tell you that, but so yeah, just wanna see if we can use the park again and keep the splash pad cozy for a little bit. On that day.
Rusty, how do we close this splash pad? Do you just make a note, or Brittany, do you remember it, or how does that work?
We just have Joe,
Sorry,
go ahead.
we put a post on Facebook and everything, and then Joe can actually turn it off,
Okay,
and then they'll turn it on after, so they can schedule the time, but.
Oh, and can we make sure that the park has water that day? Thanks, that would be good too. Because we have to use the hydrants. I think one year that they were not turned on. That's kind of a problem. Oh, and we need the heat for the, okay. And so we get the Joe a lot of time to get that.
Yeah, we got we call it worker and they have the keys, but we'll make sure we have it at a time that.
Okay, and I come in and get it from you guys.
And Dr. Bowles, just FYI, we don't use the old bathrooms anymore, so the splash pad bathrooms we'll have to make those available. The ones in the brick
We
are,
will let them know that. Are you gonna close off the old bathrooms then, or?
they're,
Just-
they're-
They're locked. Okay. I couldn't remember if they had doors or not. Yeah, okay, they're locked. Well, is it just the bathrooms on the splash pad, are they on the back or the sides, or? I can't
Splash
remember.
pad side,
The back and the side.
splash pad side is.
Oh, okay. Okay, because we'll have to let everybody know where those bathrooms are. So we might go ahead and, because like I say, normally we caution tape around where we're gonna be using, so we might go ahead and. But to the splash pad, that'd be okay. Okay, that way they know where the bathrooms are, and then just keep it to where they can't go on the splash pad side. So. Okay, be able to make that work. Try to deter any. Kiddos from getting on there. Messing anything up.
it's called a Ninja.
Yep, it's the Kids Ninja Warrior obstacle course. So I don't know if you've ever watched American Ninja Warrior on TV. But that's kind of where I got the idea, but I do it for little kids. So. Will be our 5th year to do it. We had 213 register last year and 197 kids run, so. I'm expecting upwards about 250. I mean, they come from all over the state. They feel the farthest we had is, well, they were visiting their grandparents, but they were from Florida. But.
Okay, maybe you could go through the course first. And see how they start.
You can
We
be,
won't have any of this on.
you can demonstrate. Right.
EMS for the test. I get frustrated, throwing kid, maybe, yeah.
But it's a fun day. I mean, our 3 age groups are 3 to 5 year olds. They run 10 different obstacles. Our 6 to 9 year olds run 15 different obstacles, and then our 10 to 13 year olds run 20 different obstacles that we set up. So it's a lot of fun. It's a long day, but and then they get fed. So they get hot dogs and watermelon and chips and everything that we try to go around to all of our local businesses and for it to get all of that paid for. So.
It's for, just for fun, no fundraiser, it's just a.
Just for fun, all of the proceeds that we get, we just put forward to the next year.
Gotcha.
So,
Very good.
because otherwise my business bankrolls all of it and it's kind of a lot.
Mhm.
So, kind of a big event. So, yeah, we have a account at the bank, at the First Bank, and we just fund it to the next year.
What we do on that?
I think we'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve to use the park for the Ninja Warrior on July 16th.
I'll second.
Councilor Bernard has made a motion to approve the Kids Ninja Warrior obstacle course for July the 16th. Dr. Bowles, Councilor Coates has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Clarification? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Kids Ninja Warrior Obstacle course will be approved for July 16th from 5 a.m. onwards. We'll hopefully shut the splash pad off, make sure you have water, bathrooms are figured out, and we'll bring a lot of people down. Thank you.
Fantastic. Take a look at that, Lindsay. Oh, thank you. So, thank you.
Thank you. On to new business. Do we have any other new business, Mr. Mardo, in addition to?
No, sir.
All
not that
right,
I'm-
so
Anything with airport?
airport, what was the story there?
We was gonna discuss on the insurance part of it, I think. And if you got any questions that we might be able to help with on. So you have replacing the old roof or the new roof.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The. I was hoping you had some insight, Rusty, onto the insurance and the airport roof.
So we received two bids, one for 47,000 and one for 90,000. So the only discrepancy we had was the gauge of steel on the roof that was going to require clarification, because I believe the quote was for 22 gauge and the other bid was for 26 gauge. But the insurance adjuster authorized the first amount of 47,000, of which we would get, we'd pay the $10,000 deductible, and they would reimburse the remaining 37,000.
And have we signed something already on this, or?
Yes, we signed that back. Goodness.
Like, May 10th.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The only discrepancy that I was tracking was the variation between fixing the portion and fixing the entire, replacing the entirety of the roof. And my understanding was the adjuster only approved the section in the of the damaged area. Because I know Dale and I had a discussion about whether we would replace the entire roof or not. And we agreed, my understanding is we agreed, no, we would only fix the portion or replace the portion that the insurance adjuster had approved for replacement.
Now you guys understand?
Yeah, pretty much. We felt like the old tin is so much heavier and there's no cables and it's been there for about 70 years or whatever. And we feel like the 22 gauge, even though it's old, is probably much better. 26 gauge, because permits are 5-foot centers, and Morton building, puts it at 2-foot centers for the 26 gauge, and they can be near strong enough to have anybody up there and not paying worth on their deal sometimes. So it's you guys, whatever you actually decide that's what it is. But I understand if you leave the old roof on there, there's no insurance on that roof after that point is.
That's kind of how it was, as we understood it in the office, is that if we didn't go ahead and fix this, then if they had the damage, we'd already confused up that claim, so that we wouldn't be able to fix it at that point.
Any future damage? No.
Yeah, because we just left it.
You wouldn't have, is that just the roof itself, sidewalls or?
As we understood, it was just the roof.
So we're assuming if we're gonna just stay with what we signed, then there's no action required.
Correct.
So no action required, Rusty, just need approval or just this was an update?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. No action required. This was just a quick discussion on the way ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate that. Okay, so any other new business? We covered everybody? Is there anybody else out there that we haven't? Okay, department heads, recreation is not here, not present, golf course, not present, street, water and sewer, fire or police. So we're on to city attorney.
We covered most of my stuff, just quick update, been working on all of this stuff. Couple employee agreements, did a confidentiality agreement for the employee cleaning the police department. Gonna be working on the coming easements for the sidewalk projects. And, I am attending the city attorney's Healy next weekend at Kansas City.
City attorney.
Continuing legal education.
Okay.
So it is, it's put on by the League of Kansas Municipalities, it's similar to the things that everyone else goes to, but we have required.
Right,
Yeah.
very good. Mr. Goodyear be there?
Oh, we,
He's very helpful.
we graduated.
Yeah, very good. City clerk?
So I attached a budget timeline for all of you. Angela and I went to a budget training, which we both thought was extremely helpful, especially being so new to working on budgets. And so just a timeline to kind of show you whether we exceed the neutral rate or we do not. It kind of gives you the different timelines for that. Angela's already got all of the budget worksheets out to each department. So all the departments are working on their separate budgets, and we are working in the office on our separate budgets, and Rusty's kind of helping guide us through that because we are so new to it, but that training was very helpful, and the ladies that put that training on are very accessible. We have tried to find some reports they said were on there, couldn't find them, you email them quickly, and they're on it really quick, so it'll be really great for us to use this year, especially while we're in the transition of city administrators.
Very good. Glad you got a pretty good handle on that. That's helpful to know for sure. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
City administrator, this will be your last comment for a while, until you pass back through town. So is there anything?
So as the clerk mentioned, the budget worksheets have gone out, so the departments can start working on that. Just a reminder on R&R. So they take how much we levied last year, which was 77.868 mils. And then they take the updated valuation for the county, and that'll generate the revenue neutral rate. So last year, the revenue neutral rate was actually like 76 point something, which is what generated the need for us to have an R&R hearing. So based on the projects and how much you decide to budget for salary increases, if you go back to the cost of living like we had to do last year because of inflation, equipment needs, you'll have to make an evaluation kind of early on whether or not you plan to exceed whatever the revenue neutral rate comes out to be. And you won't get that for another week or so from the county clerk. But Brittany will be, and we'll be able to provide that hopefully by the next meeting, if not the last meeting in June. But you have until the middle of July to declare whether or not you're going to exceed that amount. And what Mark and I decided last year was it would be better to just have the hearing and assume that we're going to exceed that rate, even though we got really, really close to not having to last year because of our increased revenue. But so that's moving forward. The sales tax for last month, excuse me, we're 2 months ahead. So the sales tax for April turned out to be $11,000 more than it was in 2021. So we're still continuing to see strong revenues across the city. Carl Brown, who did our rate study, is going to validate the numbers for the water rate increase ordinance. Hopefully he has that back. I was hoping I would have it before I left, but I don't think I will. So you will see that sometime in June. The demolition for the houses is scheduled to start next week. So the 3 properties that we've been waiting forever and a day to get torn down are ready to go. And if you have nothing to do, or if you do have something to do, at 10 o'clock on Monday, our fine mayor is going to be speaking at the American Legion, so you can stop by and wave at him or heckle him or support him, whatever you'd like to do. On a personal note, I could not be more grateful to the city of Ellsworth, the citizens, and especially the governing body and the staff for their support the last 2 years. I'm very, very grateful for everything that all the latitude you granted me. I'm very, very proud of our accomplishments. For those who seldom pay attention, the change between where we started and where we are now is phenomenal. Just about in every section, whether it's personnel development, whether it's facilities, whether it's our systems, even down to how much better our website is today than it was. When I was going through the thing today, and because I kind of forget, because we look at stuff every day, how far we've come in the last 2 years. So all that credit goes to you guys and the staff, and I'm just thankful that you let me be a part of it for the last 2 years. So that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Rusty. Appreciate that. And before we get to the city council section, we need to vote for a council president. We're supposed to do it the first weekend and first meeting in May after the election. Of course, we're in the middle of a city administrator search and a lot of different moving parts going on. So we didn't get it the last meeting, so we need to do it this meeting. And I think probably the way to do it is to take nominations and then to go ahead and approve the council president for this next year. With that said, do we have any nominations for the next council president? Could be the same one too.
Mr. Mayor, I nominate Wayne Scritchfield.
Second that.
President.
There
They don't have to change his name twice.
Good. Any other nominations for anyone else? Does anyone want to submit their name? Now is the time to do that. Okay, with that said, Ms. Coates has made a motion to nominate Councilor Wayne Scritchfield as the council president, and Councilor Leonard has seconded that motion. Any other discussion?
I'm abstaining.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries for the next, looks like I read the code for the next year, 2 or 3. Wayne Scritchfield will be the council president. So it's usually the first meeting in May after the election. There won't be an election until 2025. So that will do it for a while. So very good. So that said, we're going to do some wrap up comments by city council. Councilor Hanson, do you have any comments?
I actually just thought of something when we talked about the splash pad. What is what are we gonna do with those old bathrooms in Priestford Park? Because I have seen kids up on the roof of those old bathrooms. And I'm just afraid that at some point we're gonna have an issue with. I mean, granted, I know they can get on the splash pad roof too, but I've never seen them on there, but I have seen them on the old bath roof running around. And all it's gonna take is one slip. And then we've got an issue. So I just didn't know if they're not gonna be used, if they're not in use, maybe something we need to look towards is disposing of it, doing something. I just don't wanna see a kid or they're neglected and the kid fall through, or, that's just a possibility, but I have seen different times, kids up there on the roof, they can get up there pretty easy and they're running around on that roof.
Well, they used to get it on that roof.
I need to.
See, okay.
No, I hear sign never bell. It's a screw then.
No, there were fewer kids.
So, Mr. Mayor, we did talk about tearing those down, and then we caught some backlash because of they were historic, or I don't remember the exact term. It was going to be very, very costly to renovate them to they were usable. I don't know how many people have been in there in the last couple of years, but it's pretty rough. So that's a decision you guys would have to make. I know that the staff would not argue with you if you decided to tear them down, but I know that some of the folks in town would be pretty territorial when it comes to it.
Okay.
Can we put it out to the public now that we're going to be discussing this in the near future? If they want to come and discuss it, then they are very welcome to come and discuss that with us.
Okay. Okay. Councilor Renard, any final?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Councilor Scritchfield?
Rusty, Was I tracking that we had a potential need to do a budget adjustment? And I thought we were waiting till after the air done, maybe?
No, so what I thought we were gonna have to do is a budget adjustment to eradicate the fire and police equipment fund. The auditor said, no, you can just move those funds to the general fund. No need to do a budget amendment.
Very good.
It was the $14,000 we had left over since we didn't levy anything out of it this year.
Thank you.
Counselor Johnson, any final comments? No. Jessica.
Well, just one thing, we're doing a 5K fun run walk through the extension office on June 11th, so kind of in conjunction with Legion Fest. I talked to Rusty a few weeks ago. He said just to kind of let Emil know when we're doing it, so the police were aware of what our route was. We're thinking about starting at Cruiser Park and just kind of up in those neighborhoods that we're staying away from fast moving traffic. But love to see kids and things like that there, so just FYI.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? All right, I've got a few comments to make, then we'll go into executive session. So yeah, get a chance to speak to the American Legion Monday, May the 30th at 10 a.m. if you're welcome to come, whether you're a veteran or not. I was writing what I was going to say and honestly broke into some tears this morning. I said I need to kind of back off a little bit and generalize it a little bit more, but it'll be good. It'll be, we'll try to keep it short and to the point a little bit, but it'll be a little bit different. So, but please come. You're more than welcome to come. So that's Monday, May 30th. And certainly proud of this group for the work that they've done in the city administrator search. It's definitely a process. It takes time, and I think we're getting to the point where you know, we're going to have some results here before the end of the week to let everybody know where we are with it. With that said, I think we're going to have to go into an executive session for 15 minutes. Is that too much? I think, or that's a good starting point.
That's a good place.
Okay.
And we don't anticipate taking any actions.
I don't think so.
No. Who all do we want?
Council and me, is that right?
Okay.
By yourself.
Mr. Mayor, motion that we recess into executive session to discuss city administrative search pursuant to non-elected personnel matters inspection or until 6:50 with the governing body and the city attorney.
6:50.
It's only 10.
Sorry, 6:05.
I'll second.
Councilman Scritchfield's made a motion to adjourn into executive session for 15 minutes to end at 6:55. To recess into executive session, discuss city administrator search pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception. That'll include the governing body and the city attorney.
I'll second. I second. Oh, you did, I'm sorry, it's in here, she'll sign all those in favor.
All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll go and adjourn into executive session. Thank you, everyone, for coming.